John, first of all, looking back at this week, how do you feel looking back at that result now? Because it felt more than a 0-0 draw, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, we've got to get something from the game. After the performance on this previous Saturday against Barrow, it was important that we got a performance, and we got that. And we all battled and fought, and that's what we've come to expect from the team. So it was nice to keep a clean sheet, which we needed to do. We didn't play as well as we've done previously, but I don't think we're ever going to do that. I think obviously players are nervous, and but they showed passion, and that's what we wanted.
And that's what you got. And I know you also mentioned that you were hoping this week you might have some players back. And where are we up to on the likes of Cullen, Montano, and David Worrell?
Yeah, they're all back training now. So whether they can be included for Saturday's game, whether it's too early, we'll just have to see how they come through after today's training. But it's just nice to have them on the training ground.
And how about James Gibbons? Is he getting closer to maybe making a first team appearance?
Yeah, James just trained as well, which has been a surprise. He's come in today and done everything. So another plus. So we're getting obviously closer to getting a full squad, but we had another player come down with COVID overnight. So that's how it's going, but that's the situation that we're in.
I understand that, you announced Tom Conlon. Can you disclose the player and the situation?
No, not at this moment in time. But it just shows that it's getting worse.
There's lots of games that have been off in League One. I know League Two hasn't been actually as badly affected as that. But where do you stand on where we're at with the season now? Should it be perhaps a circuit breaker? I think that's been the word banded around.
The main thing is safety, isn't it? The worry that players have is that you've got players who are at that age where they've got young families, they maybe have babies, and then the parents are older. And the worry is that it's not for themselves, it's for the families, and the effect that it has on them mentally. It's like today we've come in and we know a player that we've been in close proximity with has got COVID, and he's been with us for the last couple of days. So you all start to worry then that you might pick it up, but until they say something's going to be done, you've got to get on with it.
Where does that leave the game on Saturday? Is that still, have you spoke to the EFL? Is it all kind of the players who have to self-isolate as a result of this? Where are you at with the protocols?
Yeah, we just get on with it. The player in question's obviously not available now for 14 days. The main thing is he doesn't feel too ill, but no, everybody else is just trained as normal.
And are there any worries? Do you have to do another round of testing? Because I know there's all this there's a lot of problems like this at the EFL, isn't there? There's not a set plan on when testing has to happen. No,
we've tested 2 lads who were sitting close to the player. So we tested 2. We'll get the results back sometime today or tomorrow. Hopefully they come back negative. And then on the 5th, the whole of football's being tested for COVID.
And that must be pleasing for you. You just talked about the anxiety surrounding it all. That must be pleasing for you that's going to happen.
It is and it isn't, because obviously I can see when everybody gets tested that there's going to be a lot of games called off. So it is what it is. We're just getting on with it and see what happens, really.
It's a difficult time, and it's a difficult time having Tom Conlon and this next player out as well with it. And your squad was looking thin in the Bradford game. Where are you at with January transfer window, perhaps bringing some more players in?
Yeah, as said before, we're looking at trying to bring 1 or 2 in, but we need to move 1 or 2 out before we can do that.
And how hard is that at the moment? Because you talked about the two players who you know are set to leave hopefully this January for you. How difficult is that to balance players that you want to move on, but also making sure that your squad's still strong enough while you can't bring people in, and with the injuries that you've got?
As I say, it's tougher this year, obviously, because of the limitations on squad sizes. But we're learning, you know, all the time. You're learning to try and adapt, and hopefully, you know, we get to a stage where we can bring a couple in, and it makes us that little bit stronger.
I must just ask as well, actually, on James Gibbons, how big a plus could he be coming back for you now?
Yeah, obviously it's been a big miss not having him all season, and hopefully if he can get back to how he was before, and because obviously this year was always going to be a big season for James. He's at that age now where you're looking for him to push on, and obviously it's been a setback to him and ourselves. So hopefully he can come back. He's a really fit lad, and start pushing for a place.
And looking at the game at Mansfield, another clean sheet, I'd imagine, is what you're after, but a little bit more perhaps quality and things in the team that I know to go with the hard work.
Yeah, and I think it's always the case when you're scoring goals, you let him in at the other end, and then you're trying to stop the goals going in, and all of a sudden you dry up front, and it's getting the balance right. But hopefully now the players have got confidence back from the game at Bradford. You know, we can start playing, getting the ball down and playing how we have been playing, but keep the clean sheet.
That's great for me. Thanks, John.
Cheers, Rory. Thank you.
John, how far would you say Gibbo's off from being available for selection?
I would have thought the main thing is to get him back in training and just getting the feel for the ball, because he's not trained at all other than running. So once he's back, probably in another week, I would have thought around about the Grimsby game, then there's a possibility.
Brilliant. You meant I wanted to ask you about Nathan Smith actually, because he had a good game on Tuesday. And you said he was back to his best, really. I just wonder, have you sort of had a chat with Nathan over the weeks? Because I think over the season we've got used to Nathan being really consistent and reliable, and then he's obviously had this dip in form.
Yeah, I think with obviously when you're conceding goals, then it can have an effect. But one thing with Nathan, you know, he's always, no matter how he plays, he's giving his best. And against Bradford, he went to right back, and perhaps just has changed the position, probably freshened him up a little bit, and I thought he did really well. He, you know, I can't remember their winger going past him. When he was on the ball, he looked comfortable on the ball, and so well, it was pleasing the performance he put in, and can only do him good now.
And generally, were you pleased with your back forward with that two experienced centre halves as well, with Sean coming back in the team?
Yeah, I thought they were excellent. And say Leon had needed that break, and he looked a lot, you know, looked a lot fresher. And Sean come in. I thought again, Sean's excellent considering he's not played much. He looked comfortable, and if he can keep doing that, then you know, it'll make a big difference to us.
Maybe David Fitzpatrick's gone a little bit under the radar this season, but I think he's perhaps starting to get some praise now. He seems to be producing some consistent performances.
I think that's what David is. I think he's always consistent. 7 out of 10 player, which you need in your team. You need those type of players, and when he's on the ball, he's always confident on the ball, and tries to get us playing.
Nice one. Robin just asked you about the injuries there, and you were saying that Monty, so David Worrell and Mark Cullen are all back in training. So I think Manny's the other player. How far is he off being ready, do you think, John?
He's not far. But he'll probably, I would have thought next week he'll be back fully trained.
Great stuff. And generally, how difficult's training been this week? Obviously, with the conditions we've had, what have you been able to do?
Very little. Before the Bradford game, all we could do was run. We weren't able to train properly. And then today, Speedy's been able to get us an area because the snow was really thick. So him and his team have, you know, managed to get us a decent area for us to train on. So luckily we've been all right today.
Okay. And finally for me, just on the January transfer window, what areas are you looking to strengthen in?
I think all over really. Obviously, defensively has been an area we've had to look at, surprisingly, and up front we'll probably need another player.
Loans most likely, do you think, of the deals you can do?
Yeah.
That's great for me. Thanks, John.